Thank you so much, Habiba. Sorry, my internet was being disturbed. Thank you much, Habiba, for ushering us into the session with the prayer and also telling us about the activities of the center. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to notify you about the academic programs that we run at the MUBS Entrepreneurship Innovation. Academic programs we run in the Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management. The Faculty of Entrepreneurship runs a diploma in entrepreneurship. This runs for a period of 2 years. It runs a diploma in project planning and management. This one runs for a period of 2 years. It runs a Bachelor of Entrepreneurship, and this one runs for a period of 3 years. The faculty also runs a Master of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and this one runs for a period of 2 years. It runs also PhDs in the areas of entrepreneurship, innovation, project planning and management, and small business management. We look forward to having you enroll on any of these programs in the faculty, but also on any of the other programs we run in the Makerere University Business School. You are most welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to go into the session, and I would like to bring you regards from Dr. Diana Ntamu. She's here logged on, but she's not feeling well, and she sends you regards. Dr. Diana Ntamu, as you may be aware, is the director of the center. She is also a senior lecturer in the Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Small Business Management. She is also a business consultant. She is a researcher. She's a board member on various boards. Dr. Diana Ntamu has sent you regards. I would like to move further and introduce to you the presenter of the day and also the area that she is going to talk about. We are privileged this morning to have our presenter, Dr. Agnes Nassuna Kasirye. She is Mrs. Kasirye. She is going to talk, she'll be talking about rethinking high-cost business loans. Dr. Agnes Nassuna is a senior lecturer. She works with Makerere University Business School. She is a senior lecturer in the Faculty of Commerce. She is also a business consultant. Dr. Agnes Nassuna is also a researcher. She's passionate in doing research in the areas of microfinance, general finance, for women entrepreneurs, youth entrepreneurs, business resilience, and many other areas. She is very passionate when she's talking about issues of finance. And today we are privileged that she is the presenter and she is going to take us through the sessions. Dr. Agnes Nassuna Kasirye is also a mother. She's a married lady. She is also a choir member, passionate about singing. Dr. Agnes did Bachelor of Commerce. She also did a Master of Science in Accounting and Finance. She also did her PhD in the area of microfinance. She's very passionate when she's talking about issues of finance and financial management, issues of microfinance. And today, she's the best person to talk about rethinking high-cost business loans. I'd like to welcome you, Dr. Agnes, to talk to us, make your presentation. You have about 35 minutes to make your presentation. You're most welcome, Dr. Agnes Nassuna. Kindly make your presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edie, and all the organizers of this session. I'm glad to be here again. I presented on this platform some time back. I'm glad to be here. And I'm glad to share what I know with the others so that we create an empowered community of entrepreneurs. Allow me to share my presentation so that we follow in an organized manner. Dr. Edith, confirm that you can see my screen. Dr. Edith, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see your screen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So today we are talking about rethinking the usage of loan financing. Of course, it becomes problematic when it is costly, but generally want to rethink the way we use loans to finance our businesses, to finance our activities. Allow me to share with you what prompted me to think about this topic. This week on Monday, there was news. I heard news on some radio early in the morning that there was a report from Uganda prisons and the number of women prisoners has increased this year tremendously, I think by over 25%. And the highest reason is about defaulting loans, failure to pay back money borrowed. It really inched me. I don't know if any of you had it and you felt the same way I felt. Additionally, I have, in the last 1 month or two, I've watched a number of news on our TVs about people who have lost their property being destroyed, houses being taken, people losing their businesses because they have failed to pay or because the lenders are demanding too much from the original amount they agreed upon. As a finance person, I was intrigued, and I hope that the situation, we pray it can change, but change starts with us, and I hope that I'm making my small contribution. So these are the main things we are going to talk about. What exactly is loan financing? What are the costs? Because that's the main source of the challenges. Then we need to go back to the principles to appreciate the math. And also, why do people borrow? What are the benefits that come along with the loan financing or using of debts? And how do we weigh? Where are the numbers? And then how do we borrow effectively? So what is loan financing? I normally call it OPM when I'm teaching my students. OPM, some people know it as Office of the Prime Minister. In finance, we know it as using other people's money. OPM means other people's money. So when you're using borrowed money, when you go to a bank, when you go to a friend, informal, then you're using borrowed money. It is not your money. And that is the most important thing for people to understand, that when you borrow money and they give you millions and you're happy, this is not your money. It is other people's money. And that implies that you have to pay it back. It's like any other assets. You come to me, I lend you my house to send per month. You have to give it back to me because it's not yours. What we call our assets are things we own. So loans are not assets. They are liabilities because they have to be paid back. And loans come in different sizes and dresses. So we have what you call short-term, medium-term, and long-term loans. And these are in relation to time. Short-term is normally 1 to 6 months or 1 month to 1 year. Then you have medium-term, and then we have those that can take more than 5 years, the long-term loans. Then we also have what we call formal and informal. Formal, these are loans that we get from formal institutions like banks. There's an agreement, there's a contract, you have to sign it. and the terms are clearly laid out. And then the informal, these are the ones we get from our friends, no written agreements. It's a word of mouth, and then they give you the money. And also we have what you call soft and hard loans. The hard loans normally, they are those that come from our formal institutions, and the soft ones, these are the ones we get from the informal. So they are more flexible, the soft loans. Now, what we need to understand actually is that to you, when you're borrowing, what is the loan to you? Is it a blessing? Is it a curse? But money is a burden because of it is not your money and you have to pay it back. So how much burden are you carrying? This is because we are rethinking. So this is what I want you to think about. I know most of us have borrowed money. If you have not borrowed, then you're among the wealth ones. So it's a burden? How much of it are you carrying? So, and to understand that question that I'm asking, it's important to look at the costs. From a finance point of view, the cost of borrowing is interest. To a lender, interest is a reward. It is a gain, it's revenue coming in. And that is what we need to understand. This is their way of earning money. Just like you start your business and you make profits and you make sales for them, interest is their revenue. But to you as a borrower, this is a cost to you, which you have to pay back, which you should include in your financial statements. And this payment is fixed. It can be monthly, it can be weekly, it can be daily. And it's very, very important for you to pay attention to the period in which you're paying the interest. And the principle, are you paying monthly? Is this interest computed monthly, weekly, daily? Because that has an implication on the overall cost of this loan that you're getting. It is also important to pay attention to the type of interest you're paying. Is it simple interest or compound interest? When it is compound interest, it makes the loan more expensive because interest is calculated on interest. So where is the rethinking here? That as you go to borrow, do you think about your return on investment? In Uganda, if you research, most businesses on average make a return on investment of between 1 actually to 4%. And these are, I'm talking about businesses that are performing very well. So compare that to the interest of the loan you're getting. And this is the cost, which you have to really understand as you go to get that money and be very happy with it. I tried to Google today morning about lending rates of our commercial banks compared to other countries. And these are African countries. On average, our banks charge around 20%. These are the formal banks. But you know, we have money lenders and this is per annum. These rates are per annum. But we have money lenders who lend at 32% per annum, 40%, 48%. And most people here, when they go to the money lenders, they tell them that the interest rate is 5% per month or 2% per week. And you've not thought about the period. What is 5% if it is monthly per year? That is 60%. And you're making a return on capital or a return on your investment of 4%. Your failure from the start, that is how I would call it. Automatically, your business cannot generate this money if you're making a return of 4% and this is per annum and you're paying back 60%. But even if it's from the bank, can you try to put the loan in an investment that will generate 20% per annum? And is it there in our Ugandan context? So I hope that whoever is listening is thinking hard about this. And if you compare with our fellow countries in East Africa and in Africa, Kenya is 9%. These are average rates by September 2025. Rwanda 15%, Tanzania 12%, Botswana 7%. Why is Uganda 20%? Think about it. We have countries that are performing very well in Africa, like Libya, 3%, Cameroon, John Beer, Paul Beer's country, 4%. Maybe that's why it's people's favorite. It's like you're using your own money. Botswana, 7%. But in Uganda, even what we call the lowest rates by maybe government loans, are they 3%, 4% per annum? The ones I know are around 12%, 10%. Why? So as you go to borrow, I hope that you ask these questions. Now, there is this other growing culture in the Ugandan context of multiple loans. And when I was listening to that report, the people have loans here, they have their own circle, they have a loan. They have a loan from bank A, bank B. They have a loan from their place of work circle. All over around them, they're all the time borrowing money, different loans. And remember, this is not their money, they have to pay back. And there's this new trend of top-up loans. The bankers, remember I told you their role is to make money and make profits. So when before the loan is finished, they come to you, you can top up, and you're very excited for the top up. But I hope, let me give you a scenario. If you borrow 10 million, and by the time you paid, let me say, 4 million, 6 million, they tell you can top up again. Remember, the 4 million, you're not paying back 4 million. Maybe with the 20% loan, you're paying around 16 million. But before you finish paying back, they say, we can give you another 10 million. So what do they do when you top up? You get they actually don't give you 10 million because they add on the 4. So they give you 6 million, but you're paying new interest on a new loan of 10 million. So you're doubling, paying interest on interest squared. And you're very happy you're getting a top-up loan because you needed money. But this is failure from the start. And what does that failure lead to? And this is why those people going through zero are increasing due to failure to pay. So you end up being convicted, you lose your business can be liquidated. As told you, banks, not only banks, but lending institutions are selling off people's property. They are taking it. And you're going to be declared bankrupt, and you're going to become poorer than the way you were before you went to that loan, which intention was to grow. So these are things for you to think about as you go for those multiple loans, for top-up loans, and even large amount loans. Apart from the financial costs, we have the non-financial costs: stress, worry, and fear. Because remember, a loan is a fixed cost to our business. Whether you're making money or not, a loan has to be paid back. You have no excuse. You won't tell the bank, I'm not making money. Of course, some of them you may renegotiate the loans, but that is the last resort. But all the time you're stressed, you're worried, you fear I have to pay this money, whether I have it, then you start borrowing to pay. You can see the confusion, a vicious circle of borrowing. And this leads you to lose your freedom because you instead of using your money, which your business has made to grow, you have to pay back the loan. What does it lead to? Pressure, diabetes. You know, when you're overstressed, all those diseases come. And I've heard of people who have died. The time some lenders were chasing someone because he was running away and was hit by a car. So you can imagine what happens to your family. There's also the issue of the opportunity cost. How much are you destroying your business, which is only generating a 4% rate? Relationships are strained, not only with the lender, but also with your own family. And then I would hope that people know that when you keep borrowing, you develop a syndrome or a disorder, which is called CBS, compulsive borrowing syndrome. Compulsive borrowing syndrome is where borrowing becomes part and parcel of you. You cannot do without loans. You feel you're not complete when you've not borrowed. Or you feel there's no other way out apart from borrowing. So you're developing a disorder and you need to be counseled. Because to you, it is only the loans that can lead you survive. And when they tell what's your greatest problem? No man, I need to borrow. I need to, all the time what is on your tongue is about borrowing from A, B, C, and D. So that is a disorder and you should check, we should check, including myself, we should check ourselves that this is not the trend we are going to because of what is happening in our market. So we should be very conscious when we are borrowing. I should say that maybe loans are necessary evils to some people. Maybe some people in a situation they are in, they can't do without. But be careful. The what's, the why, the when. So when you're borrowing, it should be purposeful borrowing. Don't borrow to meet lifestyle spending because A and B are doing the same, I should be the same because they have this very building and we are almost in the same circle. I should also set up a building. Don't go bandwagon because everyone, and this banker, I like the way the lenders do it. They come on you, this one comes, this one comes, and then you get excited. So have a genuine purpose. And this purpose, remember that borrow for a purpose where what you borrow for will pay itself back. If it's for the business, make sure the business is going to pay back that very business for which you're borrowing the money. Not because you have a salary. That is plan B. But plan A should be whatever you're borrowing for should be able to pay back the loan. And that is the take home. That is the thinking you should do. That I'm putting this in my business. Is this business able to pay back? And what is the purpose? Do I really need? You already have a car, but you're borrowing to buy a second, third car. Is that lifestyle borrowing? Or is it purposeful borrowing? I've told about the capacity, very important, not only to the lender, but to you as the borrower. What is your capacity to pay back? So the purpose is the why. The capacity is the what. What is the amount you're borrowing? Principles say, do not borrow more than 25% of your earnings or revenue. So if your rate of return is 4%, I hope you can get a loan, highest of 3%. If you're using your salary, if it's 1 million, do not borrow more than 250. I don't know how many of us here on the call follow that principle. Because even when you're paying, you should be able to meet your day-to-day expenses. You should remain liquid. But what happens when people are borrowing money? After they borrow, they become so happy because they are liquid. But after that, and remember, liquidity is very, very important. Will you not eat at home if you talk about personal loans? But won't you pay salaries for your workers because you're paying back loans? And what is going to happen? They are going to strike. So how are you going to balance? That is the principle, not more than 25%. Let's push it to not more than 50%, but people pledge all their salary and they remain with nothing. You're going to just get into those catastrophes of borrowing. And Ugandans, one of the problems when I talk to the bankers, they say, why the rates are so high, Ugandans do not want to pay. Remember, this is not your money. Pay back within the required time. A loan cannot be possible. But what people, I don't know, Ugandans, maybe we are used to be given. People borrow their sex, but when it comes to paying, they start hiding. You can hide when it is the informal loans or the soft loans. Formal loans, you can't hide. Banks don't make losses. And that is something that you need to think about. Lending institutions do not, they don't make losses. And they don't want to know. You went for their money, understand the terms, understand the principles, pay back. Be trustworthy. There are people willing to help others with soft loans. But Ugandans, the time you give them your money, friendship ended. They start hiding, they start knowing how bad you are, how that institution is so terrible, and went there when you were smiling. And it is important. The principle says, keep reducing. Wealth is when you're debt-free. That's when you're wealthy. That's when you're rich. It's not about only having assets. Remember that song, Tuli Kubunkenke? You see someone driving this Porsche car. You also want to drive like, but it's loaned on loaned money. It is not his car. It is not his building. People here just, hey, that person is so rich. You see that building. It's all loaned money. That is not your wealth. When you were computing your net worth is about your assets, not your liabilities. So you're wealthy when you're debt-free. And this is the rethinking that we should make. You should ideally, we should be using our own money, our own wealth to grow more wealthy. Not loans should just be the chloroquine when you're not so well. Mind your health. We don't want to borrow you before even you complete paying the loan. And this one, people just defy it. You're supposed to borrow when the business is thriving, not when it is performing. I actually argue with my students about this. It's not when you're doing badly. No, that is not loan money. It's not when you're doing badly. Look for other ways of financing. And some of them are being discussed on this platform. But when you're not doing well, do not use borrowed money. We use borrowed money if the business is thriving, if the market is increasing, there's a lot of demand, and you know immediately money is going to come back and you're able to pay. But out there, we do the opposite. And this is why we are having the problems that we are seeing. Understand the long terms. I should combine this with excitement. Some people don't even want to know. I don't know how many of you know the interest you're paying on your loans, and you're tracking your loan repayments. People have gotten problems because they don't track. And sometimes I don't know whether the lenders are overwhelmed. The loan should have ended in December 2023. You pay 6 months into 2024. You pay 6 months into 2025. And you're not aware. You wait for them to tell you finished the loan. It is you who should know. My loan is ending at this time. This month I paid this. This is the balance. Read that contract. Some people don't want to read. Say if you want to hide a secret from an African, write it, hide it in books, hide it in those contracts. Read word to word that contract. Inquire where you don't understand it before you sign. And avoid money issues, all money issues. No excitement about money issues. So have you done the due diligence? Do you know whom you're borrowing with? That's another big why. Who is this person you're borrowing with? How are the banks do due diligence? Do you do that due diligence as the borrower? Do you find out more details about your lender? People, do you inquire from people who have borrowed from there and they tell you the experience? So you simply get excited because they've come to you, sweet talking you. So those are the things, the principles, and aim at optimization. Optimization is balancing. Balance, we are not saying, of course, yes, some people can actually use 100% equity, but there are advantages of using loans to some extent, which we call leverage in finance. So try to balance so that you are at that point where you're getting the highest return from the loan you've borrowed. So I want to talk about, this is what we call the wealth model, which we all need to understand. We are in the finance world, our main objective should be to create wealth, even for our business. Profit on profit, growing and growing, increasing your net assets. We increase that through investment. So are you investing? we grow our money through investments. And the investments generate money and we earn. And this increases our wealth. If the earnings are not that much for you to acquire other assets, save and then reinvest. The purpose of saving should be to reinvest, not to after they have spent all the money. But of course, we have to spend some money. So spend wisely. And the circle, that is the normal circle of wealth creation. Invest and save, reinvest, spend wisely. Borrowing is an outsider. It's like when you're sick, that is the chloroquine. But I hope that the disease is not an incurable one, like cancer. So that even when you bring in the borrowed money, the problem is not solved. So this is another rethinking. When you want to create sustainable wealth, it should come from investing, earning, saving, and reinvesting, and spending wisely. Then you'll be there. From generation to generation. Sustainable wealth is a wealth you're passing on to your children, your grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren. It shouldn't end with you. But when you bring in this equation of borrowed money, be aware you might go with it. Or it might go before you even go. So what am I saying? Know the math. And I tell people, finance and accounting, it's only simple math which everyone can understand. Plus, minus, times, and division. That is the mathematics, not complicated. So when you borrow, are you adding on your value or you're decreasing it? Short term, mid-term, long term. We've looked at the costs. Are you adding or subtracting? Are you multiplying? Because that's the key gist of finance. We want to multiply and grow wealthy. Or you're simply dividing and reducing. And what do some people do? Someone was asking me about the plus and minus. They add here and subtract there. You know, in mathematics, when you have plus 5, then you add there minus 5. It comes to 0, no work done. You've not moved from anywhere with that loan. You've borrowed billions of money, your family is gone. It has destroyed your family, your children. You've been taken to jail, your wife. There's a play we watched and the wife remarried. Have you really multiplied and added, or you've subtracted and divided? And that is the math that we need to think about. So, yes, we are saying that loan money has some benefits. And that's why we talk of optimization. Because you might need, loan money provides us with quick sources of funds. You may not have a friend, you call friend A, friend B, friend C, and in your circle, you don't have someone to give you 10 million. You go to a bank. These days, you can even get it in 1 day, 2 days. Easy come, easy go. But it's an advantage. Then you can access, people can borrow money. I think for us, the more you know, the more risk averse you become. Because 600 million shillings, borrowed money. How much is your business making? 1 billion. This should be, there's what you call, how do you call it? You're trying to matching principle in accounting. Match the loan you're borrowing to your revenue, to your, actually not revenue, to your profit after expenses. How much is it in absolute terms? Are you making 600 million? Yes, then go for the loan, because we are talking about matching principle here. And matching principle works, issues of finance and accounting. Yeah, loan money is available. These days is so much available in the market. Then, of course, if you're good, you pay back very well, you retain your ownership. These people don't want to become owners. They want their money. Loan is also tax deductible. I told you it's a fixed cost. So it's allowable for tax. And then it's clear and precise. These soft loans, you don't know, some informal loans, how much you're paying. Sometimes you don't even agree on the repayment period. But loans have clear terms, which is an advantage to you, the borrower. And then if you use them well, if you do your numbers well, loans can help you generate higher returns. So where these benefits against the costs. So as we near the end, yes, I said loans are necessary evil. Sometimes you just need this money, but follow the principles. If you follow those principles we've talked about, you're not going to get any challenge. You're actually going to grow. And above and over the interest, your return of capital is going to be above the interest rate. Have financial discipline. And this is the catastrophe we have. The discipline, doing what is right, whether you feel like it or not. If it's time to pay, pay back. Don't give excuses, because when you're going for the money, you didn't give excuses. Make sure you're generating more cash flows, create more avenues, because wealth is about income. And then when you have this income, you'll be able to pay back. So instead of having multiple loans, have multiple sources of income. Then the best one is to be debt-free. You're rich when you're debt-free, have no debts. All these things we are talking about, there will be just stories for you. Look out for cheap credit. And this is something that before you borrow, look out for cheap credit, both in a financial sense and a non-financial sense. These days we have MTN and Airtel, they came on board. But many people here have borrowed. Many people I know, maybe not you people on the platform, borrow from MTN, Airtel. Do you know the interest? What is the interest rates? Maybe someone can type on that chat. Don't go. If you borrow, tell me if you found out the interest rates. What are the interest rates on MTN loans, e-loans, and the interest rate on Airtel loans? What I know is that they are cheaper than the bank loans, but I won't tell you their interest rates. Find them out so that next time when you're borrowing this money from MTN or Airtel, you know. Look out. Government these days have some loans on board. The women, there's this grow loan. What is the interest on the grow loan? Find out. There are grants there, out there, if you look for them. You can find whatever you want if you look for it. Avoid multiple loans. Get one loan, pay it off, clear it, get another one. Don't confuse your head and mind. Don't get top-up loans unless it's an emergency. Be accountable. Do your accounting, be accountable. In Luganda, say, bala balirira obaze. Account, get the numbers. Oyitawo, can your business pay? Don't simply get excited to get the loan. Track your loans. I don't know, check yourself. How many of you are tracking their loans on a monthly basis? As the bank deducts, you tick off. As the lender deducts, you're also ticking off. And you follow up this time, this is what they've deducted, I have confirmed. How many of you have their amortization schedules? In finance, we call it amortization schedule. To simplify, this is your repayment schedule. Clear is showing how much is paying off in terms of the principal and in terms of the interest. And you tick off this month I have paid. Yes, this is the amount remaining. I am remaining with 2 months, 3, 4. And you track. You can't run away from numbers. You can't run away from records in finance. Have the right mindset and knowledge about loans. Loans is borrowed money. It's not charity. It is business for the lenders. Just as you're doing, or entrepreneurs, just as you're doing your business, these lenders are also doing business. But you know, the business can be good. So their business can be good for you, but it is business at the end of the day. It's not charity. It's not free money. And we have new financing models coming on board, Islamic financing. We can't go much in detail today, but I know someone has discussed it, where you get into a kind of partnerships instead of using loans that have interest attached. They are innovative equity financing models. Equity is using your own funds, or you get partners that become part of your business, but you're your greatest partner. And I say self-financing. Create a fund over time, and this is for you. You're your lender. You're creating your self-bank. Accumulate money there, then start borrowing, and make sure you pay back. When you borrow, you have your lending fund. We have many funds. You should have an emergency fund, a lending fund, an expenditure fund. So you have your lending fund, it has 2 million. When you borrow 5 million, make sure when you borrow 500,000, make sure you pay. Also put terms for yourself. You won't get in no problems with anyone. Yourself will forgive yourself. Much easier when you default. But be sure you also don't default yourself. Take way back. Create this fund and lend yourself. There's crowdfinancing. There are these platforms like Kiva. You can Google Kiva. It is an online platform. You can get partners. You can get grants. And there are many out there. You just need the knowledge to find them out. We cannot discuss everything today. Buy shares. MTN pays monthly their shares. I can see their interest even when you're just on their mobile platform. So buy some shares, buy treasury bills and schedule them accordingly. They may not give you a lot of money, they will give you peace. And above all, avoid lifestyle borrowing. Don't borrow to follow the Jones, the Peters. Borrow because you need the money. Don't borrow because instead of building or an asset, a machine that can do the same thing of 2 million, you want one of 5 million because you want quality. Quality versus what? Your peace of mind, your family, your life. So those are the things. So as I end, I always tell people, if you want to grow rich, be wealthy, be happy, go to the two most finance books, the Bible and the Quran. We developed an acronym for Bible. It means basic instructions for better living here on earth. Not before you leave to go to heaven, here while you're here. The best instructions you can get are from the Bible. And the Quran means quick, understandable, realistic, articulate, and never-ending wisdom for better living. So those two books are actually finance books. Me, I'm telling you a secret, which is not a secret. So there's this story of the widow. So please go and read it. It's in 2 Kings, chapter 4, verses 1 to 7. This widow lost the husband. We don't know if it was due to loans, because when the husband died, all the lenders came and they wanted to take the widow's son to slavery. Then Elisha helped this lady. But read the story from a finance point of view. This lady said, what do you have? And what do you have mean to you? You should borrow, depend on what you have. That's where you get the help from your own, which we call equity. And it was what was multiplied. If you use your own money, it can be multiplied and you can be saved. Then the lenders, there's this story in Matthew chapter 18, verses 21 to 35. This unforgiving servant, go and read more. He had borrowed lots of money, he begged. They forgave him, but he couldn't forgive his own borrow. People had borrowed from him. How many of you lenders behave like that? You borrowed the money you're lending to people, but you can't, even when they've paid over and above what was originally, you want to play ways and they give you more, and yet you've also borrowed. You end up like that servant. I won't tell you how that servant ended. You find out. They have this quote. I love this quote when I talk about borrowing. Proverbs 22 verses 27 says, if you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under. Imagine in this cold weather, today it's raining here where I am. Before, as you're pulling the blanket, you say, come, the bed is what we are taking. I want you to visualize this. And then for you people who place security for others, your garments will be taken. Due diligence, that's what we are talking about. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. And whoever, I think Proverbs 11:15 almost says the same thing. Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer for it. It means due diligence in all these things. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you picked one or two things. These are normal things that are normally talked about, but a finance conversation can never be too old. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Edie. As I end, please make the invisible visible. Then what seems impossible becomes the inevitable. I love that quote. Today you say you cannot rely on your money. That is now invisible. You can make it visible. So what seems impossible becomes the inevitable. You can grow with your own money without the loans. Questions and comments are welcome. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Edith.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agnes, for a great presentation that you've made. I think you've made the best presentation on rethinking high-cost business loans. We appreciate you. Thank you for finding time in your business schedule to come and talk to us, especially the entrepreneurs. You've been able to tell us what loan financing is, and you've also elaborated very well on the financial costs of debt. You've also been able to take us through various aspects where you have given us a new term of OPM, other people's money. You use other people's money, you borrow from external sources, we borrow money which has to be paid back. You've consistently indicated that the bottom line is borrowed money becomes a burden because it has to be paid back. And you've reminded entrepreneurs here that they should keep paying back this money. You've also indicated to us to be aware of multiple and top-up loans because they come with a higher cost, and failure to pay loans, you've narrated many various aspects that may happen. You've also taken us through the 9 financial costs of debt, the stress, continuous worry, loss of freedom, health deterioration, and many others among those. And I know people who have logged on this morning have learned a lot and picked a lot, and they are now rethinking the high cost of business loans. We don't have a lot of time, but allow me to invite either Mr. Bone Kagaba or Josh Karuhanga to manage the Q&A session.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Dr. Kasirye. I hope I am audible enough. And let me put my voice to thank Dr. Nassuna for the presentation. Thank you very much. My name is Karuhanga Joshua. I work at the Entrepreneurship Center, and I'll be taking us through Q&A. And the ways that you can ask questions are through the Q&A section. You can type your question in the chat, or you can raise your electronic hand and you'll be given permission to unmute and ask your question directly. And due to the interest of time, let me go direct to Q&A where there's a question and someone is asking. Sometimes we borrow and follow all the principles, but how do we address the issue of black tax? Dr. Nassuna, that is the first question. Let me hand it over to you as we wait for some more. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. The black tax is where we have relatives. I think this is not a loan. Hence to your obligation. It's not, this is not loan. It's black tax is our African culture where beyond your nuclear family, you have many other people to look for. And it's an obligation. Maybe it is kind of a hidden loan because people feel you have to do it. Now, one, know who you are and your capacity and your wealth status. Because how do you give what you don't have? People borrow to meet requirements of our extended families. Why do you do that? Tell people you don't have because it's the truth, isn't it? If you have, please help. Very important to help. It creates social wealth. But if you don't have, then why do you borrow? People borrow to fulfill wedding pledges. If you don't pledge, won't that wedding take place? So this is what we call purposeful borrowing. Help your relatives, help others using your own money, which is your own wealth, which is your assets. Don't use borrowed money to meet black tax obligations. That is, and just awareness. If people really tell them, if they believe it or not, that's another story. But if you're telling the truth, then be comfortable with it. It's lifestyle spending. Because you want to keep up the joints, you want to say you're very good, you help everyone, but help them using your own money, not other people's money. Thank you. I hope I have answered that.
Yes, you have, Doctor. Thank you. Let me go straight to the next question from Kasuja Sheila, who says, a great presentation, Dr. Nassuna, and indeed learning has taken place. Then she goes on to say, you talked about a top-up loan. And she says, in my experience was not good. At one time, I thought I had cleared it, but it was just postponed. It was just postponing the liability. Even now, I'm still paying it. I'm still paying it with difficulty, promising myself not to take up a top-up loan until I clear an existing loan. Then I can have a cheaper one. So that is Sheila for sharing her experience.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for sharing.
I don't know if you might have any comments on top-up loans. And then just one more question here from the Q&A from Alan. He says, how can I help my young brother who has a habit of mobile loans, and this habit is growing on him? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. You know, we talked about the CBS, not Central Broadcasting Service. Severe compulsive borrowing syndrome. So it is a disorder. And as we borrow, you know, habits, we develop habits. When we repeat something, repeat it, it becomes a habit. So now it has moved away from purposeful borrowing to CBS. So you need to bring awareness that this person, another principle when you're talking about spending is spend below your means. Very wonderful principle to grow rich. I don't know how many of us are following it. Spend below your earnings. You earn 1 million, your expenditure should not exceed 800,000. When actually some loans come in because you don't follow that principle. So you need to cancel that person. But if you can't do it, take him to a professional person. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nassuna. There is another question. I think you answered it partially, but someone is asking, your partner is a serial borrower, how do you handle that? But due to the interest of time, I would want to close Q&A and hand it back to Dr. Edith Basaliva. Maybe before we close, Dr. Nassuna, you could address the question of having a partner who is a serial borrower.
Okay, so one, you need to, just like any other disorder, the first role you have is to bring it the awareness of this person that this is a disorder. It is not normal behavior. Even the person sometimes may know that what they are doing is not right, but they cannot stop themselves from doing it. So that's the first thing. The person needs to know they have a problem. Because some people think it is normal to keep borrowing from, and even when they have multiple loans and get problems, they continue borrowing. When you have, it's a red light. It's a red flag for you. When you start having problems, it is telling you that stop borrowing. But you see the red flags and you continue. So that person, first of all, needs to be aware they have a problem. When they acknowledge the problem, they will even try to solve it themselves. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for answering all the questions. Once again, I want to thank everyone for being on this call today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. I want to hand it back to the host this morning, Dr. Edith Basaliva. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a blessed Thursday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Josh Karuhanga, for managing the Q&A. And thank you once again, Dr. Agnes Nassuna Kasirye, for responding to the comments made and also responding to some of the questions that have been raised. We appreciate you. Thank you very much, because you've given an opportunity to people to interact further with you as they asked questions. We would like to appreciate you once again. I know we've got to the top of the hour, and we don't want to keep people here for a very long time. So allow me to invite Madam Sarah Chejusa, the Deputy Director of the MUBS Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Incubation Centre, to give her closing remarks. Director Sarah Chejusa, kindly unmute. Director Sarah Chejusa is the Deputy Director of the MUBS Entrepreneurship, Innovation and Incubation Centre. She is She did Bachelor of Commerce. She's an accountant. She also did a Master of Science and of Finance and Accounting. And I would like to invite her to give her closing remarks. Madam Sarah Chejusa, please unmute and give closing remarks on behalf of the principal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edith Basalira. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And on behalf of the principal, I would like to thank Dr. Agnes Nassuna Kasirye for enlightening us about the costs of business loans. Agnes, I think there is no other better person that would have taught us or enlightened us other than you. I know that I work with you and you're very passionate about financial literacy. Thank you for supporting the business community and also individuals on having financial discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Nassuna has clearly enlightened us about the pros and cons of loans. Loans are not bad, but we have to be very conscious as we use them. As the business community, we should be conscious when we borrow. We have to rethink before we act by considering the what amount are you taking? Why are you borrowing it? Where are you borrowing it from? Which type of loan are you taking? We've heard of the interest. And when are you paying it? So those are very key aspects that we have to think about. And thank you, Dr. Nassuna, for bringing them out. We should also be very conscious that we have to borrow for the right cause. If you're expanding your business or you're putting the money for the right cause, it's fine to borrow, but also be conscious of borrowing for other people and also trying to borrow because of impulse. So one of the other discipline we should have is to try and live within our means. That's very key. Also, for the business community, I advise you to have a financial advisor. Have a financial advisor. Do not just run to borrow. Do not just run to invest. Have a financial advisor, and these are available. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, the business community, and all the people that have logged on for always responding to our calls and call and attending our webinars every Thursday. We appreciate you and thank you so much. I want also to thank MUBS management for giving us the platform, and that is led by Professor Moses Muhwezi. And I want to thank Center Management led by Dr. Diana Ntamu for organizing these webinars together with our co-host, who is very committed, Dr. Edith Basalira. Thank you very much. And also Josh Karuhanga. Thank you for being also a co-host. I want also to appreciate the center team that is behind the scenes. Thank you for the hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, have a blessed day as we move to our journey of financial discipline. Thank you and see you next Thursday. Over to you, Dr. Basalira.
Thank you very much, Director Sarah Chejusa Bazivu. We appreciate you. Thank you for the great closing remarks and re-emphasizing the issues about rethinking high-cost business loans. Thank you very much. And you as part of the center, we also appreciate you because you are behind all what is being done. Thank you for the leadership at the MUBS Entrepreneurship Innovation and Incubation Centre, and thank you for the work that you do with the director of the center. We appreciate the whole team. Once again, Dr. Agnes Nassuna, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. You made us feel better, even when you related these issues, both to the Bible and to the Quran. We appreciate you very much. I think we are going to rethink again and enjoy the journey of doing business, we as entrepreneurs, and thinking about the cost of the loans that we keep using. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for logging on. And I'd like to remind you to log on again next Thursday, same time. I wish you a blessed Thursday and bye-bye for now.
Thank you to Dr. Edith and bye everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Agnes.
You gotta get up. You gotta get up and make a move. 'Cause the world will never see you until you do. No, they don't really care what you're going through. So you gotta show them, baby. You gotta show them the real you. You gotta give them what you've got. No, don't let them see what you're not. 'Cause you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby. 'Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in the world like you. What do you do when you can't let go? What do you say when you just don't know how you feel? And you know nobody knows how you feel. 'Cause everybody's got their own damn problem. So everybody's trying to find their way. And day by day is a struggle in this world. You know you have to hustle. Just know that you're not alone. You don't always have to be strong all by yourself. I said it's okay to ask for help. Now listen, people will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. People will find you, but they don't define you. And you will find people who help redesign you. You are a work of art. Bet you didn't think you'd come this far. Now here you are. Baby, you are strong. You are wise. You are worth beyond 1,000 reasons why. And you can't be perfect, baby. 'Cause nobody's perfect, darling. But no, 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 there's nobody in